it's Kim at middle of the book march. This is my bookish week for June 4th, Saturday, June 4th. And I've got my coffee here. I'm actually filming in the afternoon. I get home, I leave work at around 1:30, and I get home a little before 2, 10 of 2, and it's Friday afternoon. I just needed coffee. And as you can see, I have some munchkins as well that I was partaking in. So, what's going on this weekend? Not a whole heck of a lot. We are still on our gardening in the front yard project. We got a little bit done last weekend. We mowed. I unfortunately had to mow the front lawn. We had a few wildflowers, but there was just so many weeds that were pretty thick weeds, so we mowed everything down. Got a lot of dandelions. There's a lot of little buggies out there. And I bought some new plants, and I lined them up, and it just started raining for most of the week. And it's like we have to get down on our hands and knees in the dirt to get these plants in the ground. But the ground is plenty wet and watered and irrigated, however you want to put it. So it's going to look really pretty. We're going to weed, we're going to plant, going to relax, and hopefully going to do a lot of reading. So, last week I finished one book, but I've got a ton of stuff on the go. So let me talk to you about the book I finished. This is the third Hainish novel by Ursula K. Le Guin, City of Illusions, and this is in my Library of America bind-up volume. Now, in case anybody doesn't know, these novels don't necessarily need to be read in order. It's not like a chronological series. There are certain aspects to the novels, like in this third novel, City of Illusions, that pull from the previous one, Planet of Exile, but you would never catch it. So if you read these out of order, it's no big deal. And so the fourth novel is The Left Hand of Darkness, which is the Le Guin novel I've been dying to get to. So, but this is the fourth one. That's the fourth one in this volume. And now we're going to talk about City of Illusions, as I've circled around and around it. This is the story of an unknown character at first, who is a grown man, or so we believe, found kind of abandoned in a very dense forest. But he doesn't have regular human eyes. He has eyes that are very similar, and the way they're described in the novel as cat's eyes. And so the people that find him don't really know who he is, what he is, where he came from. And so they basically take him in, and they're kind of an isolated community of people. And they have to teach him from scratch because he has no memories, no knowledge of how to do anything. They bring him into their community, into their lives. They teach him how to talk. They teach him how to survive in this community, what to do, manners and mores and that type of thing. But they don't have a clue where he would have come from. So eventually he gains enough knowledge and experience to kind of go out into the world in search of his identity, his past and his future. And, you know, how he's going to get there. He knows he's going to try to get to a city called Estok, I think it's how it's pronounced, as from my notes, which is also the city of the shining, the liars of earth, and the enemy of mankind, is what he's been told the city of Estok is. And so it's basically a journey novel, or a quest. He's on a quest to find his identity. And along the way, he meets different types of people, different beings, different homesteads. He travels across different types of landscapes and countryside to get to this city that he believes he is from. And so it's so interesting how Le Guin does this when she writes these science fiction novels, or wrote these science fiction novels. But they're all about a journey. They're all about looking for something and on a quest for something. But what is done so well is they're not overly complicated so that you have to have diagrams and kind of family trees and character trees. Obviously, it would be helpful. And she does have a map in the front of this book. So she draws these maps, and you can follow along with the maps to look at different continents and the world that she's in and the worlds that she's writing about. But I don't typically do that when I read a book like this. If a book offers a map, I think it's nice, but I almost never go back to it, once in a while. But I haven't with this because her writing flows pretty easily and it's so interesting, and she directs you into the future of the story. So you can follow the story arc pretty easily. And I have a weird thing, even when I watch movies that have to do with a journey or a quest, and this happened during the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I get anxious. And I get anxious when I don't know where the character is going to end up or what they're going to come upon in their travels, and is that going to set them back? And that happens all the time in her earlier novels, Rocannon's World especially, that happened, where it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And so this character gets knocked off track by different things, whether it's the landscape or lack of supplies or other people that he comes in contact with, because he doesn't know who to trust and he doesn't know who to believe. And one of the things that this novel displays is the twisting of the truth. Who's telling the truth and who's lying? And how does the fact of how somebody acts and how they look contribute to whether they're telling the truth or not? And can you believe them? And she does that very well in this book. There's a lot about lost memory and regaining memory. There's a lot about assimilation into the society that you're welcomed into. There's a lot about being supported and being pushed and encouraged to move forward, to find that piece of yourself that you feel that you're missing. And so I've really enjoyed reading these Hainish novels. This is the 3rd one. And so I had a great time reading it. Now, that's the one book I finished. I have 4 books that I was currently reading on my Goodreads that I've actually put into an on-hold folder. And this is one of them. I'm not going to pick up Left Hand of Darkness quite yet, but this starting on July 1st will be back in the currently reading. Another one I have on hold is Daniel Deronda by George Eliot, and I was listening to this one. And the audiobook is the Juliet Stevenson narrated version, and I was able to access it through my library. But I put that one on hold as well because I can take it back out again and listen to it. The next one that's on hold is The Unabridged Journals of Sylvia Plath. This is exceptional, and I haven't even gotten very far. I'm reading this one on ebook, but these are her journals. This reads like some of the most fantastically written fiction I've read in a long time. So I can't wait to get back to that. And that's an easy book to read a little piece at a time and kind of reflect on it. And this brick of a book, the Books of Jacob by Olga Tokarczuk, translated from the Polish by Jennifer Kraft. Again, another spectacular book, but putting it on hold to hopefully pick it back up in July because my June is very full, if you've seen my TBR video. So this is an exceptionally written novel as well, and I think I'm maybe 10% into it, but it's very, very good. Looking forward to that one. So what am I currently reading in June? I did a June TBR. I'll link that video down below. But I am currently reading Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy, and I'm reading this with AJ Dunn as a buddy read. I will link their channel below. By the time you see this video, it'll be Saturday morning sometime. It posts on Saturday morning. I will have finished this book by Saturday afternoon because it's 2:20 on Friday and I'm working at home, and by the time I'm done, I'm going to be plowing through this book. And I don't know if you can see this, but I don't typically dog ear pages, but this one I've got dog ears all over the place, and a lot of times I will do that with paperbacks. I hate using those sticky tabs, so I've got dog ears and I've got notations and arrows all over this book. There's so much symbolism and allegory in Blood Meridian, and that's what I want to talk about when I wrap it up next week. I am listening to Sarah Waters' Tipping the Velvet on audiobook. And the narrator of this book is fantastic. And I want to give you her name. I'm trying to get onto my Goodreads. And Goodreads is so slow because it is so flippin' bloated. I don't know if anybody else has thought that about Goodreads, but it totally is. Juanita McMahon is the narrator of Tipping the Velvet on the audiobook that I'm listening to. And she is absolutely fantastic. Kind of on the same caliber as Juliet Stevenson because she does all the voices. She doesn't sound like she's reading the book to me. She sounds like she's acting out the book, and it's just awesome. I've loved it. I am reading The Subtweet by Vivek Shreya. I am enjoying this a lot more than I thought I would. I wasn't sure if I was going to like this. I'm not on Twitter. I don't ever plan on getting on Twitter. I hate the idea of Twitter. So a book about social media and the Twitter sphere, if that's a word. I wasn't sure about that one, but so far I'm really liking that. And I am reading with my fancy schmancy bookmark, The Hotel New Hampshire by John Irving for the Critical Chicks book group. And if you're easily offended, look away because I'm going to show you this bookmark that my husband bought me. Yeah. One of my favorites. So those are the books I have on hold and the books I'm currently reading. And that was my bookish week last week. On Wednesday afternoon, late afternoon, I did get the chance to go to a library sale that was close to me, but it was kind of a bust. I got 2 books. I'm going to show you those really quick. And let me show you those, and then I want to chat about that. I got Kieran Desai's The Inheritance of Loss in paperback. This was the Booker Prize winner for 2006 and National Book Critics Circle Award winner. Now, I've heard mixed reviews about this book, but, I mean, it was 50 cents, and it has a beautiful cover, and you all know that I love that. So I picked it up for 50 cents and thought, I can't lose. It's in great shape. So yeah, what have I got to lose? In a crumbling, isolated house at the foot of Mount Kanchajunga in the Himalayas lives an embittered judge who wants only to retire in peace when his orphaned granddaughter, Sai, arrives on his doorstep. The judge's cook watches over her distractedly, for his thoughts are often on his son, Bijou, who is hopscotching from one gritty New York restaurant to another. Kieran Desai's brilliant novel, published to huge acclaim, is a story of joy and despair. Her characters face numerous choices that majestically illuminate the consequences of colonialism as it collides with the modern world. Give me a novel about colonialism and I'm all over it. So I'm looking forward to this one. 50 cents, I couldn't lose. And a book that I already thought I had and didn't and was like, what? Why don't I have that book? Is The Spiral Staircase by Karen Armstrong. And this one is in hardcover, deckled edges, in fantastic shape. This one was $1. So I spent $1.50 on 2 books at this book sale. However, this is a library book sale, but they hold it in the rec room of a Greek Orthodox church. So before you end up in the book sale room, there is an outer foyer where they have a table of Greek pastries. So I spent $1.50 on books and $9 on Greek pastries. I'm glad I took out enough cash from the ATM. The subtitle of The Spiral Staircase is My Climb Out of Darkness. And this is a memoir of what it says is her spiritual journey with her departure in 1969 from the Roman Catholic Church. She had entered a convent 7 years before, hoping but failing to find God. She struggled against despair and was further fueled by a string of discouragement, failed spiritually, doctorate and jobs, fruitless dealings with psychiatrists. So she went through a pretty severe depression. And in 1976, she was diagnosed with epilepsy, given proper treatment, and released from her private hell. And this is her story of that time in her life. I thought I had this forever. But thanks to my handy-dandy trusty app for BookBuddy Plus, I have all the books in my library cataloged, and I was able to look this up, see that I did not own it, and buy it. And what I did was, the minute I came home, I took both of these books and I scanned the barcode into my app, and if I wasn't on my phone right now, I would show it to you. So now I know that I have both of them. So about the library sale, this is a town that's about 25 minutes away from me. One of my favorite places in the state of New Hampshire. I used to live there. Okay, it's Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And the Portsmouth Library, like I said, holds the library sale in this Greek Orthodox church. And this is my I think it's my third year going to that library sale. The first year was awesome. I got a bunch of books. The second year, last year, was okay. I ended up buying a bunch of books that I was going to do a book project for women's fiction. That didn't go very well, and I ended up redonating a bunch of those 50-cent books. So I went this year thinking it's going to be hit or miss, but it's not very far from me, 50 cents to $1, and I only found 2. And I started to realize this one is not really the best selection in the last few years. And in my couple of years as being a library sale connoisseur, I have realized which library sales around me are the best ones to go to. And so there is a library about an hour from me that has a library sale room in its basement, and they have a sale once a month. That's one of the best ones to go to. And if we go to that one, we usually take a ride to Concord, New Hampshire and do some shopping while we're there. So it's usually a day trip, and it's a lot of fun. Another library sale is in a town in Massachusetts that is very close to where I grew up. It's about an hour, but it's a fantastic sale. The hardcovers are $1 to $2, and the last few times I've gone there, I think I've been there 2 or 3 times, I walk out with a pile of books. I've not walked out of there with less than 6 books and spend such little money. And these are all books that I've got on my TBR list. So I know that that town's library sale is definitely worth it. And there's another one coming up. Now that one, I think that one's coming up in the fall, and there's another one coming up in the fall in another town in New Hampshire that I love, and I've only been to once, but because of COVID, they're having another sale, I think, in September. So I have so many of those to look forward to, and that's one of my favorite things to do. Usually if we drive that kind of distance to go to a library book sale, yes, I do that, and I love it. We make some sort of day out of it. We'll go out to lunch, or we'll, bum around and do some shopping, whatever. So it's a lot of fun. That's it for me. Let me know what you think about if you've read Le Guin novels, if you've read the Hainish novels or The Left Hand of Darkness, which is coming up for me, maybe July or August. I'd love to know your thoughts about that, or if you've read any of her other books. Let me know. Let me know if you're a sci-fi fan. After reading her, I think I am. And so I think I'll look for some other books that I never really considered before. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.